Good morning everyone. This is Kamikawa Kaolin. This time, I will answer the request of Curry 3 Momo. Koreans lie. Chinese people were still better, is the word of an old lady who lived on the pre-war peninsula. In South Korea, similar to China, for the benefit of our nation, our people, and our family for a long time. There is an ethical view that allows falsehood, distortion, and fabrication. Indeed, South Korea did not feel guilty, withdrew its previous words, and lied to lies. To win, lies, forgery, fraud, tears, tells, threats, blackmail, takeovers, and so on. Just like a Yakuza develop a victim business, using all means, and, this is justice in Korea, I can't trust what Korea does. The original claims are the most hated in the world for South Korea, who is so calm and lies. Technology learned from other countries or illegally obtained never thank the original, never pay royalties, it is an act of claiming that it is of Korean origin without any grounds. In Japan, such an act is said to be an act of giving back the favor, and is hated. In the industrial sector, the technology of Japanese companies and excellent engineers have been completely pulled out by Korean companies. There is no time to enumerate, but the same situation is actually occurring frequently in the agricultural industry. Originally, Korean agriculture, for example, for rice, it was developed because the land system was modernized by the Land Survey Project during the Japanese colonial era. Also, according to the rice production breeding plan, agricultural modernization has been promoted, such as construction of irrigation facilities, breeding, and introduction of chemical fertilizers. The yield has increased significantly. Thanks to Japan for 100 years, there is now Korean agriculture. As for kimchi, which Korea is proud of, the pepper used for kimchi was around the 16th century. Invaded Europe by European countries such as Portugal. Triggered by the invasion of the Americas, it was also transmitted to Japan, which had diplomatic relations with Portugal. It was brought to Korea when Toyotomi Hideyoshi sent troops to Korea. In 1909, when Hirobumi Ito was the secretary of the Korean Resident General, Chinese cabbage was also added. A variety called Qing Dynasty No. 1 was cultivated on the Korean peninsula after more than 10 years of research. It was spread throughout the Korean peninsula by the Governor-General of Korea. Thanks to this spread, there is now kimchi. If you just praise yourself without gratitude, South Korea was looted, slaughtered, and sexually slaved by Japan, it is screaming without any reason. And South Korea is officially implementing an agricultural policy to plagiarize Japanese varieties throughout the country. Behind it, multiplying a stolen or unregistered variety from Japan with another stolen or unregistered variety, there is a karakuri that legally produces pirated varieties one after another. As a result, South Korea surpassed Japan for the first time in 2013 in terms of agricultural production of fruits and vegetables. It jumped to the 4th place in the world. The export value is 5 times that of Japan. What kind of karakuri is it? Let's take a strawberry variety as an example and explain step by step. Speaking of strawberry varieties made in Korea from the 1990s to the early 2000s, 2 varieties brought out from Japan accounted for more than 90%. With Akiheim, breeder, Akihiro Hagiwara, commonly known as Janfi, in Korean it is Red Pearl, breeder, Asami Nishida, Yuppo. The 2 growers did not permit cultivation in South Korea and were completely illegal. On the contrary, the 2 illegally cultivated varieties began to be exported back to Japan at one point. The 2 growers sought an injunction on exports. At the same time, we started negotiations on cultivation royalties, license fees, with Korean farmers. However, the Korean representative refused to pay, saying that it was not acceptable at all. Negotiations have been broken for more than 10 years. Both varieties are now out of breeders' rights and have expired. Even the claim right has been lost. There is a reason why the South Korean side was bullish. At that time, Korea did not have a system to protect the rights of varieties. Although I participated in the Variety Convention (UPOV), International Convention for the Protection of New Plant Species, it was virtually lawless. South Korea is aiming for agriculture in developed countries postpone the time when international variety protection obligations are imposed, He had won the so-called developing country quota. This was pointed out by President Trump. I was receiving preferred treatment to treat developing countries only when it was convenient for me. Therefore, no matter how much the Japanese side negotiates, I was able to poke it with the shield that I had no obligation. However, South Korea was not able to continue illegal acts forever. According to the international promise under the Variety Treaty, after 2012, as in developed countries, we have to guarantee the rights of overseas varieties. Payment of royalties for overseas varieties including Japan is obligatory. So I came up with a national backup by 2012. It is a strategy to completely copy Japanese varieties and surpass them. First, repeat the mating between Japanese varieties. Then, cultivate varieties that exceed the traits of their parents. What happens if the produced varieties are registered in Korea and overseas? It will be protected from the world as a legal variety. Looking at the Korean press at that time, the background of this operation is written as follows. Our table was occupied by foreign seeds, NEWSIS, if you don't grow Korean varieties, you'll have to be tied up with foreign seeds all the time. Farmers Newspaper, same below, the issue of royalty claims for Japanese strawberry varieties has been revealed. A public-private cooperation system was built by public opinion that Korea should grow its own strawberry varieties. Plan to replace up to half of the domestic strawberry cultivation area with domestic varieties by 2010, it's as if you were forced to force a Japanese variety. While spreading what you stole and making a profit, it is shameless to say that the victim is occupied. What on earth is it? This is the lowly appearance of the victim cosplay nation, South Korea. And the Korean strawberry industry, where the public and private sectors have united to overtake Japan, we have achieved results according to our strategy. The production of strawberries exceeds that of Japan, and the export volume is growing rapidly to about 10 times that of Japan. Ironically, the varieties that contributed to the great leap forward of Korean strawberries, it was a product of the illegally leaked Akiheim and Red Pearl. Its name is Solhyung. Currently, it is a hit product that occupies most of the strawberry cultivation area in Korea. As planned, we succeeded in a plan to replace up to half of the domestic strawberry cultivation area with domestic varieties. Korean strawberries, which used to be more than 90% Japanese varieties, are now it has been switched to Korean varieties that have been completely copied, including Solhyung. And, as expected, I didn't have to pay any royalties to Japanese breeders. In terms of rights, the registration of both Akiheim and Red Pearl varieties has expired while the same varieties are in widespread use. In this way, South Korea is strategically trying to strengthen the international competitiveness of agriculture. It's too early to be surprised. Strawberries are not the only ones with such a careful strategy. Complete copy, surpassing, and overwhelming promotion strategy utilizing Japanese varieties already done with apples, pears, grapes, peaches, oranges, etc. It's still in progress. Shine Muscat is in the Hiroshima region of Japan. It is a grape variety that has been bred, improved and researched over 30 years. The large grains and glittering appearance have led to the name, Shine. This species has been secretly brought to South Korea and China for cultivation. Cultivation techniques are lacking in Chinese products, and few farmers cultivate them. Even if Japanese products are imported, the prices are high. There, a Korean group, who can easily steal even cultivation techniques, entered Japan and he became an agricultural trainee and stole it with the seeds. Korean products, because they stole the technology from Japan as they are also excellent in quality. The price range is also at an intermediate level between Japanese and Chinese products, so it is evaluated as having high price competitiveness. In Greater China, where fruits are available in a continuous manner, transportation costs are low and Korean products are selected. The taste will be the same for Chinese people. The grape is a specialty product in Kimcheon, Central Korea. Kim Jae-kyung, Chief of Agriculture and Livestock in Kimcheong City, when Shine Muscat was developed in Japan, it may be a pity of Japan that the variety was not registered in Korea. It is not illegal to grow Shine Muscat in South Korea. Therefore, in Kimcheon City, Shine Muscat Cultivation Technology Manual was produced. It backs up the cultivation of Shine Muscat. Why isn't it illegal to grow the Japanese variety Shine Muscat in South Korea? In fact, the Japanese Agricultural Research Organization, which developed Shine Muscat, registered varieties in Japan in 2006. At that time, he did not register the varieties overseas because he did not anticipate export. International treaties stipulate that fruit varieties registered overseas should be registered within 6 years of domestic registration. Therefore, now that the application deadline has already passed despite not paying any development costs in Korea, Shine Muscat has become all you can make. The day when SLI South Korea will call it Shine Muscat, which originated in its own country, will soon come. Following Shine Muscat and strawberries, Japanese varieties of mandarin oranges leaked to South Korea. It became clear that it was cultivated without permission. Known as a Korean resort, mandarin oranges cultivated on Jeju Island, which is also the largest mandarin orange producing area in Korea, it was leaked from Japan. According to media reports, the leaked oranges are Japanese Mahea oranges. The new variety, Mahea, which was registered in Japan in 2014, was cultivated without permission. Mahea is characterized by its reddish skin, low acidity and high sugar content. It is the result of efforts made by the National Agriculture and Food Research Organization of Japan, which took 16 years to develop. Because it is a new variety, Mahea, which is rarely distributed in Japan, he was a mandarin orange farmer on Jeju Island and was bearing fruit. However, this mandarin orange is currently in a shipping suspended state that cannot be put out even if you want to put it out. It is said that farmers in South Korea are crying out. The reasons are as follows. Mahea and Asumi will be available in January 2018, which is within the deadline. The Japanese Agricultural Research Organization, which developed the variety, has applied for variety registration to the Korean government. Was announced. During the examination, the Korean system gives rise to temporary protection rights. The sale of 2 varieties is banned. Furthermore, if the variety registration is approved, it is possible to claim damages from the grower without permission. In order to cultivate this variety, permission from the Developed Agricultural Research Organization is required, and you will also have to pay royalties, usage fees. Under such circumstances, the sale of mandarin oranges grown without permission is naturally prohibited. In response to this situation, Korean farmers have made the following voices. We bought and planted seedlings at a high price without knowing anything. The person who sold the saplings also became like, I don't know anymore. We are willing to pay royalties for future shipments. I hope Japan will have a generous heart and go in the right direction about it. At first glance, farmers are just saying, we are victims. The circumstances are not clear, but at this point, there is no doubt that Japanese mandarin orange varieties have leaked to South Korea. Fortunately, due to waiting, the shipment has been suspended for now. I think we will move on to royalty billing. But keep in mind that this was exactly the same situation when the strawberries were stolen. In the past, when I was cultivating Japanese strawberries without permission, I did the same thing. After that, South Korea crossed Japanese strawberries and they claim to be Korean strawberries and are exempt from paying royalties. This is a national theft carried out by South Korea. Japanese strawberries x Japanese strawberries equals Korean strawberries. The other day, there was a big uproar due to the reimportation of Korean strawberries in Japan. At this point, the partner country does not claim that Japanese mandarin orange varieties are Korean. But this is a problem. In order not to let you do the same thing again with the humiliation of strawberries that escaped by crossing varieties, it is necessary to take countermeasures and take concrete actions as soon as possible. The country of South Korea is the intellectual property that Japan has created with pain and misery. Never think about paying. It is a rogue nation that thinks, I'll steal it for free. For those who steal continuously, the head on preaching that people's things must not be stolen is meaningless. There is no choice but to take legal action and take a strong stance against those who do not understand the language. In order to keep being stolen silently and to stop the chain that cannot recover what was stolen, I think Japan needs to take a bullish stance as a whole country. Furthermore, in South Korea, Japanese sweet potato, Beni Haruka, is cultivated without permission. The fact that it is widely distributed has become clear. The same variety already occupies 40% of the sweet potato cultivation area in South Korea. In South Korea, Beni Haruka has already been renamed to honey sweet potato. As it is a promising item and variety for Japanese agricultural exports, some domestic producers are worried about competing when selling overseas. The outflow to South Korea occurred when farmers in the country visited Japan's production areas. It seems that the cause was that he brought back the seed potatoes of Beni Haruka without permission. Cultivation began around 2015 in Haenam-gun, Jeollanam-do, in the southern region. In 2018, it reached 40% of the country's sweet potato cultivation area, 53 hectares. Locally, Beni Haruka costs 1,000 to 2,000 yen per 5 kg. It is available at a lower price than the price of Japanese products in Japan. Cultivation expanded in a short period of time because the local technology center, a public institution in South Korea, promoted tissue culture. The background is that we provided inexpensive seedlings as Hainan No. 1. At the National Seed Institute, an organization that manages seeds in the country, when I interviewed how to crack down on this situation, the hospital replied, "I will reply by email because there is no person in charge." However, I haven't received a reply until today. Beni Haruka was developed by Naro as one of the representatives of the sticky type that was registered as a variety in 2010. It is also used as a spark for the roasted sweet potato boom. According to the organization, it has become widespread and branded mainly in sweet potato producing areas in Kyushu and Kanto. The export value of Japanese sweet potatoes from January to September this year as it increased by 20% from the same period of the previous year to 1,337 million yen. It is one of the export items that is expected to grow in the future. For this reason, there are concerns about the outflow of seeds and seedlings from production areas that focus on exports. A person concerned with the production area in the Kanto region said, "Demand for soggy products is increasing overseas as well. There is a possibility that it will compete with Korean products in the future. We want the country to take effective measures." According to the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, in a survey conducted in September, "We have confirmed that far more seedlings have been leaked to South Korea and China," said the Food Industry Bureau. However, the current situation is that it is difficult to suspend cultivation locally or claim damages. In order to exercise breeders' rights overseas, it is necessary to register the variety locally. However, under the International Convention for the Protection of New Species (UPOV), application requirements for registration in many countries, including South Korea, because it is said that, within 4 years from the start of the transfer, Beni Haruka has passed the deadline and the variety cannot be registered. Regarding the revision of the seed and seedling law, which includes restricting exports overseas, currently being deliberated in the Diet. In this way, while shouting, "No Japan," and "Japan is bad," come to steal Japanese things and sell them to make a profit, this is a Korean. In recent years, Japanese varieties of agricultural products have become more popular all over the world. Seeds developed in Japan are exported, cultivated and eaten all over the world. Behind this is the variety of varieties suitable for the 4 seasons of the Japanese archipelago for many years. We have the ability to develop varieties that correspond to the delicate taste of Japanese people. It was recognized in each country and contributed to the world's agriculture and food culture. However, behind the popularity, theft of Japanese varieties and illegal outflow to overseas are occurring one after another. The most common is the outflow to South Korea and China. Strawberries, grapes, apples, peaches, citrus fruits, etc. are frequently stolen. Japan is a world-class fruit variety, but the damage is not limited to fruits. It extends to flowers and industrial crops such as carnations, chrysanthemums, and rushes. Most of them are public varieties developed by the national and prefectural governments and varieties cultivated by individuals. Unlike private companies, such public and individual breeders do not have the know-how to protect varieties. not aggressive in overseas expansion. That gap is cleverly targeted. The varieties introduced this time are just the tip of the iceberg. A large amount of Japanese varieties with expired patents, breeders' rights, also leaked. It has taken root as a product from China and South Korea. For example, Chinese Fuji apples are already a global product. You can see it everywhere you go to overseas supermarkets. Japanese varieties are a way to earn foreign currency in China and South Korea. The same thing is happening with rice varieties such as koshihikari and akitakomashi. However, not only is Japan stolen, but the public and private sectors are making efforts to further develop new technologies. The most noticeable thing in the book today is the domestic banana, which is a revolutionary technological development. In detail, it will be stolen again, so I won't say it. The development of these Nobel Prizes should never be stolen by South Korea. We must also reform the international legal system. Koreans lie. Chinese people were still better, is the word of an old lady who lived on the pre-war peninsula. The Japanese, and people all over the world, should never forget this word. Don't be fooled by Korean lies. That's all.